Welcome back to A's Tournament. This is the AI simulated baseball tournament run through Super Mega Baseball 3. We are going into our third series in the round of 16, and this is going to be the left bracket. We have seed 3, Louisiana, going up against seed 6, Iowa. In the regular season, we'll start with Louisiana. They finished with 46 wins to 34 losses. They are spearheaded by their S-rated starting pitcher who will be starting today, Frank Ali. In the field and batting, they are led by their A-plus third baseman in Charles O'Connor. Louisiana, as a team, has a very good array of where their strengths are. However, they are the lowest home run hitting team that we have in this tournament. On the flip side of that, number 6 seed, Iowa, they finished the regular season at 42 wins to 38 losses. Their main player is their center fielder, David Macho Man. Their starting pitcher who will be starting today is Sebastian Garrison, who is an A-minus rated pitcher. And on the flip side of Louisiana, who is the last place home run hitting team, Iowa is the first place home run hitting team in this tournament. Iowa actually led the league in points scored, home runs, and least fielding errors. You'll see that they're actually listed there as defensive experts. The downside to Iowa is that they have the worst pitching in this tournament. Outside of Garrison, who is starting today, they do have Blankenship, who will be starting next game. He's a B-. Everyone else on their roster, including all of their relief pitchers, are C's or C-. 3 of their 4 relief pitchers are C-. So this is a team that is going to rely on high-scoring games, and we'll see how that pans out for them. So let's go ahead, hop in, and I hope you guys are ready for another series. Alright, so as a reminder, since Louisiana is the home team, or the higher seed, they will have home field in games 1, 2, 6, and 7, if we get up to that number. And for the first time in this tournament, we have 2 teams that actually have different colors, so that should help us out here. We start things off, 1 pitch, quick out to left field. David Macho Man, again, this guy is the S-rated player for Iowa. Iowa, while they did not have anybody that led the league in home runs or anything like that, that is caught for the second out. Iowa, as I mentioned in the pregame, is the highest home run hitting team. They did grounder over there to Nielsen, gets it over to Rosas, and that is a quick first inning. That was only, 3-4 pitches? That was really quick. Iowa, all of their batters except 2 had double-digit home runs. Here we go. AyyScare, the third baseman, is able to field that. That was a beautiful field there. And as a reminder, Iowa is the best fielding team in this tournament. So we'll see how that pans out for them. That one gets by the pitcher. And Louisiana now has someone on first. Case Rosas, who's up to bat here. In the regular season, he batted at 283. They take off here. Do they have the speed? It's actually a little bit of an error there. So Louisiana, with Charles O'Connor stepping up. They do have Nielsen in scoring position there at second, and he does have a nice speed bar. Louisiana, if they can get a point up early, that would be big for them. They're going to ground it over to AyyScare, and that will end the first inning. So yeah, Frank Ali, who is pitching for Louisiana here, he is an S-rated pitcher. And in both of our first 2 series, we've seen S-rated pitchers, and we know how dominant that they can be. So we'll see how Frank Ali stacks up. Interestingly here, though, you see Frank Ali does have that BB Pro negative stat. So for an S-rated pitcher, that it's a little bit rare to see, and that he will walk the batter here. Mr. Avery is the designated hitter. And it looks like I actually looked away for a second. I think that was a bunt. And he gets George, their left fielder, into scoring position there on second. So we have Alfonso Heath now up to bat. He's a right fielder. Heath in the regular season batted at .284. And he did hit 16 home runs. They got him in a rundown. Let's see. He does have a speed, and like Ali is not the fastest here. This is becoming a pretty long rundown, but they do end up getting him. Zoe McCullough is their first baseman. In the regular season, she hit 13 home runs, had a batting average of a .290. That is popped up, and Nielsen is able to field it. We're going into the bottom of the second without a run scored yet. Ball is hit. That was a really tough dive. They do hold it to a single. Francis Bradley, the center fielder. Now, you'll hear the differences here in home runs. In the second half of Louisiana's batting order, batters 5 through 9, they didn't have a single batter over 5 home runs. And let's see if that lands. They are able to get it. All right, so Louisiana still with a runner on first. Melissa McMaster, left fielder, in the regular season batted at .254 and only hit 1 home run. So with these home run differentials, you have to assume that Louisiana, they're going to need to put up points. That this is good out there. This is probably one of the hardest teams that they could be going up against, just because these two teams are quite literally polar opposites from their regular season stats. That being said, Louisiana now has 3 hits through 2 innings here. And Bobby Hughes is stepping up. He's their designated hitter. And that ball is popped up and will likely be the third out unless there is a fielding error here. And that will be out 3. So throughout this series, unless something comes up that I'm not too familiar with here, I believe Louisiana should have the pitching advantage throughout this entire series, including relief pitchers. So, I'm sorry, did I say Iowa? I meant Louisiana. Louisiana will have the pitching advantage across the board. RJ Park stepping up to bat here. He's their 9th batter. He is their catcher. He is a C-plus rated player. In the regular season, he did bat over a 300 batting average. That one gets popped up. Wilson gets it. Riley Rojas, their second baseman. Their leadoff here. In the regular season, she batted at .282, 15 home runs. Starting is at a full count. Again, Frank Ali does have that BB prone negative trait. We'll see if he ends up with another walk. Not another walk, but that is grounded right by his feet. and Iowa will have a runner on for David Macho Man. That ball is popped. That one might have the distance. It's right against the wall. It does have the distance. And David Macho Man, again, he is their S-rated player. So that is the exact type of player that you would expect to come in and get them up 2-0 in this series. Or in this game. Sorry about that. Frank Ali, now with a mojo of tense from that, going up against Kellen Escargot, who does strike out. So once again, we're expecting this series. Iowa will be putting up points. The question will be, will Louisiana's pitching be able to keep it low enough, and will Louisiana be able to put up enough points? Louisiana is the higher rated team going into this tournament. Louisiana starts with a strikeout, and they now have Edward Nielsen stepping up. He did get a hit his first time out. Edward Nielsen is their shortstop. He actually led this team in home runs with 15. And he did strike out there, but he did have a 3.22 batting average in the regular season. He also had 15 stolen bases, which was second on this team. Case Rosas is back up. Something to keep in mind, he does have that whiffer trait, which I believe is when there's 2 strikes, some of his bars will drop. There we go. You get that contact drops by, it looks like maybe 25. But he ends up getting walked. Now Charles O'Connor, who is their main batter, now has the ability to potentially tie this if he's able to hit a home run. But at least keep things alive here for them and see if they can get another batter up. But 2 strikes, 1 ball. And he gets caught looking. Frank Ali, through 3 innings, has 40 pitches, so a little bit higher than you would want, especially from an S-rated pitcher. But going up against the top scoring team in this tournament, can't complain. Starts things off here with a 3-ball, 0-strike count, and he walks the opening batter, which is not ideal. Frank Ali in the regular season, in his 20 starts, went 6 wins to 3 losses, had a 2.7 ERA. Grounder to Rogers, this should result in a double play, and it does. Alfonso Heath stepping back up. Grounder went to Rogers again. And Louisiana, through 4 innings, has kept Iowa to 2 runs and only 2 hits, which again is very good going up against that top scoring team. Hard grounder. They missed the dive, but will they be able to get it anyway? They are. They were able to stop that ball right next to first, so it worked out in their favor. Ball looked a little bit inside to me, it was called strike 2. That is going to... you see the difference in these fielding traits. That second baseman, I missed the name there, but she dove and slid almost all the way over to that ball. Let's see here. Louisiana grounds it. Escargot has a throwing error there, which is unexpected. Escargot, their third baseman, is an A-rated third baseman. So here we go. Plaid Mosley Bradley, who is on second, has that stealer trait, which we'll see if that comes into play. Not that he'll steal third, but he just has such a high speed that we might see something here. And I think that might be the first time we've seen that in this tournament. Garrison went for that pickoff twice, failed twice, and that dropped his mojo. That ball is going to land. They probably have the speed to send this one home, and they do. So Louisiana gets the first run of theirs on the board, makes this a one-run game, and they do have a player over on third. Who is that? I'm not sure off the top of my head. They have a nice speed bar, but if you get struck out there. So Hunter Rogers stepping up. He's their leadoff in the regular season, batted a .291 batting average. See if he can get them another run here. Starts things off with 2 strikes. Just low. Just low again. AyyScare gets it and gets the good throw this time to keep them with a 1-run lead. Frank Ali going up here at the top of the 5th. He's at 50 pitches. And let me take a quick look here. So, Louisiana does have an A- relief pitcher named Shrewd Nixon. But outside of him, all of their other relief pitchers are in the C range. So this is one of those teams where if Frank Ali can go for a full game or almost a full game, it will be very important to their full series. That ball is hit into left field, and Iowa will have a player on first with 1 out. That ball stays foul. Nicholson, who I believe is over there on first, did have 9 successful stolen bases. You can see they have that nice speed bar. As a slow roller, he will get the second out. But Riley Rojas here will step up with someone in scoring position with a high speed bar. She does have that RBI dud negative trait though. Two strikes to 1 ball. The ball's going to get popped. It will land. They're going to send them home. We'll see if they can get in time. And they do. And they get on second. Big play with David Macho Man stepping up. Frank Ali might pitch around David Macho Man here. He doesn't really. Nielsen is able to field it. And Louisiana gets out of the inning. They're back at a 2-run deficit. They have a number of innings here to get some points on the board. Nielsen, their shortstop, second in their batting order. He pops that one up. Will it land? It will not. Heath is able to field it. Garrison, here's pitch 70 for him. So we'll start seeing his stamina play a role that looks like it's already affecting his bars. And he gets the strikeout there. Charles O'Connor, in the regular season, he only batted a .235, which is actually lower than you might expect with those bars. That ball is popped. Does it have the distance? It doesn't have the distance to make it out. And you can see there, because he has a low speed bar, he was only able to get a single off of that. I would think most players would probably have gone for a double there. But we'll see how this plays out for them. William Stewart, the right fielder, is now what? Starts with 2 balls. Garrison walks him. which is definitely not what he wanted to do there. Francis Bradley is not a home run hitter, but he did bat a .260 in the regular season. Right down the middle. It's one foul. Another one foul. Another one foul. Yeah, you guys know how it goes. Another one foul. Another one foul. And if nothing else, is getting Garrison's pitch count up. That is, I think, 6 foul balls in a row. And he gets a grounder here. And that will end the inning. So Frank Ali has 66 pitches. We'll see where exactly that puts his stamina bar. Yeah, you can see it. It's now starting to affect his bars a little bit. Slow grounder. The first baseman comes over, gets it over to Ali, who is able to get there in time. Hard hit ball. That is almost certainly going to result in at least a double here. Bradley fields it, throws it to the cutoff man and Nielsen. And Iowa, once again, with a player in scoring position there at second, with Mr. Avery stepping up. Mr. Avery is their designated hitter, but he does strike out here. Fonzo Heath, 0 for 2 so far, but he gets a grounder. Will he get there the first time? He will not. Going into the bottom of the 6th, Louisiana is looking at a 2-run deficit. So we'll see if they can make that back. So Iowa, as a reminder, worst pitching that we have in this tournament. So Garrison is an A-, the starting pitcher we have here. In terms of relief pitchers, the best one they have is a C rated, not C+, C. And then they have 3 C-. So them keeping Garrison in as long as possible is going to be very important for them, especially as the series progresses. We'll see though, because Garrison did start us out here running somebody on the first. Worried about them taking off there. Escargot. That is the second fielding error from him, which is definitely not expected. Let's take a quick look here. His fielding is a 99, arm 99, but he has had 2 fielding errors now, which is huge. And Iowa did make the decision to pull in a relief pitcher here. Oh, and they get a lucky double play there. Let's see. The relief pitcher that they brought in is a C- relief pitcher. In the regular season, let's see, that one will go around. And I think that Iowa just had another throwing error there. This is so unexpected from them. They had the least errors in the regular season. They averaged less than an error. They averaged like 1 error every 4 games. So some of this fielding, I don't know if it's nerves or what, but definitely not what you would expect from them based on their regular season performance. Jaden Legion here, who is up pitching now. In the regular season, went 6 wins to 4 losses as a relief pitcher, but had a 5.19 ERA, which is not what you want. But looking at their pitching staff, only 2 players had below a 5 ERA. So that just goes to show what we could potentially see manifest in this series. Louisiana, Frank Ali catches the first out of the inning. Shiny Nicholson does have a single so far in today's game. In the regular season, batted at .236, actually gets struck out. Frank Ali, this will be pitch 90 for him, so he's definitely getting up in the pitch count. And we'll see what happens here. He ends up walking RJ Park. Rojas, the leadoff batter, will be coming up again here. Frank Ali starts things off with a ball right down the center. 2 strikes, 2 outs. The ball is hit, but Rogers is able to get the catch. So Iowa, so far it's registered as 2 errors. There were a number of plays. I would say there were at least 3 where I think an error may have been able to be called, but we'll see. So far they've been able to keep a 2-run lead even with their miscues. Case Rojas there strikes out to start off the inning. Charles O'Connor steps up, and as a reminder, Charles O'Connor is one of the best batters that Louisiana has. So we'll see what he can potentially get going. He's a team right over to Escargel. William Stewart, C+ right fielder. He does have that low pitch bonus, so we'll see if that plays into things. Rojas able to field it. Gets over to McCullough for the 3rd out. So Frank Ali, we will see if they decide to pull him here. I don't know if they will use their A- relief pitcher in the first game, just because they'll probably want to keep him for some of these other matchups. Because a 2-run game is still close enough and it's worth pulling in your best. If they were down like 5 runs or something, then it's like, alright, don't tire out your best relief pitcher. But here, this is still a winnable game for them. See, that ball is popped up, and I think that has the distance. That is definitely gone. So they did just take another run, and I actually was not paying close enough attention. Is that Macho Man again? It is S-rated center fielder. 2 home runs in the first game, which is actually a little bit unexpected. Because even though he's an S-rated player, in the regular season he only hit 19 home runs. I say only, that technically led the team, but we do have some players here that definitely hit like 26, 28 home runs. So Macho Man did not finish as a top 3 home run hitter. And you will see there, Louisiana has decided to bring in one of their relief pitchers. They have brought in Williamson, who is technically a closer for them. He is their 2nd highest rated relief pitcher, at a C+. So he did get the closing pitcher designation. The regular season did not pitch all that well. As a closer, went 4 wins, 7 losses. They get 18 saves, though. He averaged a 4.5 ERA, though. Full count. Ball is grounded. Rogers fields it. And Louisiana is going into the bottom of the 8th here. They're at a 3-run deficit, but they're now not up against a great pitching core, and they've shown that they've been able to get hits. Not specifically runs, but hits. We'll see. That ball is popped up, but it lands in about 10 feet from the wall. Benson McCaster. We get a single earlier in the game. Start things out here with 3 balls. The Legion does have a BB prone and ends up walking the batter. We've seen this play out in the first 2 series of this tournament, where these relief pitchers, when they come in and they don't have the highest of ratings, we can see big swings late in these games. So we'll see what Louisiana can do. They get the strikeout. However, Louisiana does get their runner over in the scoring position for Bobby Hughes, who is their 9th batting slot designated hitter. And he fouls out, or hits one over to third base, gets caught. So Iowa is going to look to add to their lead here. Louisiana does have in their closer in Williamson. And that ball is hit. It will land. And that is going to likely result in a double here. Bradley throws it in to Rogers. And yes. So Iowa starts things off with a runner at second. Two balls, 2 strikes. Ball gets fouled. The important thing to note about closing pitchers is their stamina. They are really only meant to come in basically like 4 and in. So you can see here, Williamson is already suffering from low stamina. That ball, it was a little bit more fair, would have been a home run. Another one gets popped foul. And if nothing else, McCullough here is forcing a high pitch count. Stewart fields it. Iowa does not send anybody home, which was the right call. And here they go. Louisiana is now going to bring in their A- relief pitcher. It's a 3-run game and the first game of the series, so I understand them wanting to have that ability to potentially come back in the bottom of the 9th. But I'm not sure I like the call to bring in your only decent relief pitcher in a game down 3. Iowa now bases loaded here for RJ Park. Slow grounder. They're going to get it out at first and out at home and out at first. So that was actually a huge play there. Riley Rojas here is 2 for 4 today. We'll see if she can add anything to her resume. She does have that negative RBI dud trait, which if she strikes out, definitely partially due to that she does strike out. So Louisiana does get out of that inning without letting up a run when they had bases loaded with 0 outs. So that is huge for them. But they now only have 3 outs to come back 3 runs. We'll see how this pans out. In their favor, they do have the start of their batting order. That first ball is popped really high and far. The Macho Man fields it about 10 feet from the wall. Edward Nielsen does have the bars. You would expect him to be one of those players that can make something happen. But does get the hit. I was going to say he's in a 2-strike deficit, but he gets 1-2 first. Case Rosas, who does not have a hit yet today, steps up. That ball gets away from the catcher, which will move them into scoring position. That lowers the catcher's mojo as well. Let's see, that ball is popped up. It does not look like it has the distance it needs. Will they tag? They're not going to tag the third. Charles O'Connor is going to be scary enough that they're going to pull in another relief pitcher here. Oh man, another catching error. The Iowa, like I said before, Iowa has this up 4-1, but the fielding errors are completely unexpected. That ball gets a slow grounder, and that will bring Louisiana another run. So now, William Stewart sitting here with 2 outs, but if he hits a home run, this becomes a tie game right now. He doesn't hit a home run, but that will continue this inning for Louisiana. They now have O'Connor there at second, and Francis Bradley will be in the spotlight here. Francis Bradley batted at .260 in the regular season. He only hit 2 home runs, though. 2 strikes. He gets a hit. Is that going to drive home a run? It's not. Louisiana now has bases loaded. Melissa McMaster is now stepping up. In the regular season, batted a .254 with only 1 home run. If she can get a pop right past the infield, this could tie this game. 2 strikes though. Good eye. Oh, McCullough was able to get that out. If that had been 1 foot higher, that might have tied the game. But it didn't. Iowa is going to take game 1 in this series. Let's go ahead here. Take a look at the box score. So again, Iowa put up runs, which is what they're known to do. They put up runs against a very good pitcher. But Louisiana, they only scored 2 runs, but they got 12 hits, which is a little bit inverse of what you would expect. Honestly, this entire game felt like an inverse. Of Iowa, all of the fielding errors, only 2 of them were technically errors, but we saw 2 pitches get away from the catcher. We saw 3 bad throws to the bases that allowed people to get on base. So, very strange opening to this series, but Iowa does take game 1 4-2. In terms of MVP of game 1, let's take a look here. I think David Macho Man actually is going to be a clear one. He had 2 home runs, got them 3 of their 4 runs, batted a .500. Frank Ali will probably be in the top 3. It wouldn't surprise me if he was 2. He did pitch well, even though he did allow a 5.14 ERA, but he pitched 7 innings. I don't know. Maybe that actually isn't deemed a good enough performance to be in the top 3. Guess we'll see what the game says. No, he didn't even make the top 3. All right, so we started out here with David Macho Man getting the MVP of game 1. Followed by Garrison, their starting pitcher, and then George Hunn, who is their left fielder, who got a double in today's game. So with that will get us through game 1 with Iowa versus Louisiana. This is going to be an interesting series. I will just be very interested to see how it plays out. Game 1 did not play out as you would expect based on the regular season stats that these teams put up. But we'll see if David Macho Man continues leading Iowa, and we'll see how these pitching situations end up in the coming games. So I'll catch you guys for game 2.